welcome to this video, which is going to be a mix between a review, a summary, and we'll also add something interesting at the end of the video. I was thinking for a while, should we come back to this video? Are the Aryans of Ham or Japheth? Is the theory of Indo-European peoples false? Now what we have here is the actual performance of the video with the percentage of likes versus dislikes. And at the moment it's sitting on 77%. So this is a bit of a once-off because we've never done this before on the channel, but I thought maybe it could be beneficial and we could maybe learn something from this. So this is currently our worst performing video in terms of this one category of how to monitor a video, the likes versus dislikes. This is the lowest. So does that mean that this is our worst video that we've done? We're going to try to speak more about that as we go forward. What I would like to do is actually focus on doing a summary of where we're at with this discussion and this study. And then we'll also incorporate a few of the comments from this video as well. Let's try summarize where we're at. This playlist starts with this video, the African origin of the Grecian or Greek civilization. I would describe this source as being Afrocentric. That's what it seems to me, an Afrocentric source. And we tried to be fair with the source to bring out the points. And then we started to try understand what debate are we in, or what is the contest. And the contest seems to be about not just the Greek civilization, but maybe civilization in general. Is it due to an African origin, or is it because of the Aryans? So if you want to say an African origin versus an Aryan origin for civilization, but we were focusing on the Greek civilization. So that's the debate or the contest that we started to get into. And it wasn't an unbiased video, this one. I did say that I think there is merit or substance to this. So we did a follow-up video trying to think more about the African origin theory to see if there's actually more things we can find to support it. Now the next video, it wasn't a video that I actually wanted to do for this playlist or for this train of thought or the study that we were starting. It was more of a response to one of our viewers to try offer some advice or some help to our sister and anybody else that maybe could learn from this or might help them. But it is about Japheth and Ham, so it's not completely unrelated. So we put this video in as well. And then the video that started this video for our review. We really started to dig deep into this with one of our viewers coming up with this question or this idea, saying something really different to what we may have thought about this, or we could even say that it's quite maybe provocative in a way that people that just read the title may be offended. But we're not doing it to try offend people. It's about trying to understand this debate or this contest that we finding ourselves in, that we trying to learn more about, and a quest for the truth. And thinking about these videos that we've done, I've actually now created a description for this playlist. So this is going to be the aim or the goal for this playlist: dispelling errors and shining a light on bias, prejudice in our history or world. But I still haven't decided on the title yet. If anybody has any good ideas for a nice title for this, please share any ideas if you'd like to. But I still want to think about what could be a good title for this playlist. Then what I said when we were doing these videos that if we only focus on appearance or race, we could get drawn in. We might ourselves get taken off course. And I said that maybe we could be missing something important and that I want to do a video about that. So that was this video, Relearning Ancient Greece. So this could be something to really think about, that do we actually have to unlearn, relearn ancient Greece? Do we really understand ancient Greece? So that's a bit of an introduction to that idea with this video, but it also leads to other work that we've done on the channel. And there was something else that I said early on in these videos about this idea of not being drawn in. I was saying maybe we must be careful not to think that we have to take sides, that either we agree with the African origin theory or that we agree with the Aryan origin theory, and not be drawn into straight away thinking I'm on this side or I'm on the other side, because I want to try to build to where we are at the moment, to try come to some sort of a mini summary or a conclusion for what we've done so far. Now, something that came out of this video was where mythology meets history. And that also leads into the next video, thinking about the Greek mythology and the Indo-European mythologies could actually be based off historical people. And then this question, who could the Greek god Zeus be in the Bible? Now, if you haven't watched this video yet, this is going to be a bit of a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear, maybe stop and then go watch this. But the main thing that came from this was that the Indo-European mythologies could be based on the family of Ham, which really goes further and links back to this video. Are the Aryans of Ham or Japheth? So that's where I'm at currently with this, is that this debate or this contest of who's going to take credit for civilization, and this idea of an African origin theory or an Aryan origin theory, it could be arguing cross purposes. Because what if the Aryans do come from Ham, or there are Aryan nations coming from Ham, and what if the Indo-European mythologies are based on the family of Ham? In a way, you could be arguing cross purposes, if that makes sense. That if the Aryans come from Africa, then what are you really arguing about? So that really is, I think, something very interesting and could be important to think about and maybe go further with. Let's now look at a few of the comments to think about the performance of the video. I'll go back to this picture so we can think about it. Was it a very poorly done video, or is there more to it? One of our viewers, Phil, did say to me that it was a very bold move to make this video, to go this way. I think I'm starting to understand that a bit more now. Let's go to some of these comments. I don't want to do this in a way where we are, trying to be overly defensive, or that we're sulking, or we're getting taken off course. But this first comment, I think the first part of this is actually it's fair. It's a legitimate point. This first part. I did go back and rewatch the video. I think maybe to say that I'm very wrong might be a bit strong, and maybe the viewer didn't fully see the point I was trying to make or bring across. But this part, you could say, is fair. But then the next part, saying that I should be very embarrassed because of this idea that, if we read this part here where it says that you're trying to shoehorn the Bible into everything. So if the viewer is anti the Bible in terms of considering the Bible as real history, then that means we're going to be poles apart, and it's going to be difficult to really come together, because is this bias or perspective of the viewer influencing the way the viewer is perceiving the video, and the criticism, is it linked together? Which also goes on to the next one. It's not history. so don't try even to guess. So I think this is a similar perspective, that the Bible's not history. So I think that could also maybe explain the performance of the video, that's starting to draw a wide range of different viewers with different perspectives, different beliefs. And now this one's interesting because we've got this description now for this playlist, that we're trying to dispel errors, trying to shine a light on bias and prejudice, but actually being accused of being prejudiced. So I don't want to go too defensive where we have to feel like we have to argue and defend everything, but quite a strong comment. But now this is very interesting because this comment really could show us how we have to be careful of bias, because it says here, all Asians are the descendants of Shem. That seems to be a very broad statement to make, very broad claim. So much so that the viewer says that Semitic is coming from Shem, but then it says Semitic means Asian. How can it mean Asian? But it's because of this broad claim that you're saying that all Asians are descendants of Shem. So basically you're saying that Semitic means Asian. But I think this is what we are trying to do on this channel and this playlist, to try to dispel errors and shine a light, because that's a very broad claim, and then we'll notice how it feeds back into the Aryans. I think the viewer really sums up this, if you want to say, this debate that we're in here, because also we actually read this part out about the connection of Ham and Africa, which is also maybe a very narrow-minded view, which was something else that we were trying to do with this video, was trying to see, is our perspective on Ham narrow, or is there more to the story with Ham, to try shine a light on the Hamites, to try help with this picture, but then we're being accused of racial prejudice. So it is very difficult, and maybe that's why the viewer was saying, it's a bold move to go into this. But I want to read this part here. Since Aryans consider themselves white, not Arab, not Asian, this connects them to Japheth. And we were speaking about this implied connection to Japheth. Is this really good scholarship? What about trying to find connections to the actual sons of Japheth? If you want to say that the Aryans come from Japheth, what about looking for evidence with the sons and the descendants and the nations that we can be sure that come from Japheth? But that's not what's happening here. It's a case of making a very broad claim for Shem, connecting them with the Asians, and then also this, I would say, from what we could be learning, is a narrow-minded view with Ham and Africa. And because you're saying these are like truths for the, well, I shouldn't say truths, because the view does say supposedly here. So there is a bit of trying to be careful, but they can become like historical truths. That's the way I was phrasing it in the other videos. But then notice what happens here. So because the Aryans consider themselves white and not Asian, so that means not of Shem because of this part, and not of Ham because of the connection to Africa, it means that they have to be of Japheth. So it's about ruling out two, and then connect that automatically connects you to the other one. But is that really true? Is it really accurate? Is it that a fair way of trying to investigate this? So I think this comment really sums up quite well what we were trying to explore and investigate, and seeing what we could be seeing is a bias or an unfair claim, which is too broad. So that was very interesting. And then one of the viewer that's, I think this is the same viewer that started the question, the very interesting question, saying that we could be getting closer to the truth. Dad's Son Worldwide actually gave some very interesting comments for the video, very constructive. His opinion is that the Hittite is more later, is very late. So I was asking in this video, well, what I was trying to suggest was maybe the Hittites could be connected to this Proto-Indo-European language. And then another interesting comment here about this viewer, or the video supporting the theory for this, the perspective for this viewer. I'm not sure if I would just say the Canaanites and leave it like that. You know, it's probably not just going to be just the Canaanites, but an interesting comment. 22J Dub has been giving us constructive criticism for the way we are using predominantly Greek sources. Are we limited with our sources? So I think that's very constructive, and you know, we should be willing to listen, to try and get better, to learn so that we can improve what we're doing. And this is an example of, I would say, you know, being constructive, even though I think the viewer might be getting a bit frustrated, sounds like a bit frustrated, but it's a difference from being constructive and, you know, trying to humiliate somebody to make them feel, you know, small. And then this perspective, South India is Ham, Persia is Japheth, North India is both mixed. So interesting perspective. And then the last one here, they are from Shem. Now this is interesting because it was at the end of the video, I just put this out for discussion. Could Aryans come from either Ham, Shem, or Japheth? So either the three sons of Noah. Does it have to be just one of the sons? And that was the only reply that we got. I think this is the reply to that the Aryans are from Shem. So that's interesting. And maybe that could be our point of interest for the end of the video. So that's a bit of a review. And I think, personally, I don't think it was the worst video that we've done. I think the performance is linked to the title, the content, the fact that because we're speaking about the Aryans and Indo-European peoples, and we're also trying to learn about history. So we are wanting to learn, and because we're doing it ourselves, and it is going to be an amateur operation. I'm not a trained academic, but because we are amateurs and we're trying to do this, and also because on this channel we believe in the Bible, we believe in the history, we believe in the three sons of Noah being the progenitors of all mankind. When you draw people who have maybe more, let's say, of a secular education or secular perspective, you know, it's not going to go down well. You're going to get these comments. You're going to have a very strong opposition because you're poles apart, really. So I hope that was interesting and maybe also beneficial. I hope that maybe the summary of the playlist was helpful to see what are we actually saying and where we're currently at. This is going to be our point of interest for the video, speaking about Madai, a son of Japheth. I just want to refer back to the comments so we know why we are speaking about this. We said, what about actually looking at the sons of Japheth to see if there's a connection to the Aryans? Why go this way around this by thinking about appearance? So with Madai, a son of Japheth, we do have a connection to the Aryans. It says they appear to have been a branch of the Aryans. So that's interesting because now we do have a nation, a people, a son of Japheth, which is being connected with the Aryans. And we also have this, or we have another example of where mythology meets history, because on the Wikipedia page, it speaks about the Medes formerly being called Aryans, but then the name being changed because of a character from the mythology, Medea. And this is a Greek historian, Herodotus. So hopefully if J-Dub is watching, he's not going to be upset. It's another example of the Greek historians. So very famous because Herodotus is known as the father of history. But the interesting part is what comes to us from the book of Jubilees, because it says that Madai, son of Japheth, didn't want to live in the land of Japheth or the allotted inheritance for Japheth, but came to live amongst the descendants of Shem. So we do have this connection with Madai and the Aryans, but according to the book of Jubilees, coming away from the other sons of Japheth to live amongst the descendants of Shem. So that's interesting, thinking about the last comment that we looked at, where this viewer said that the Aryans are from Shem. I think that's what the viewer is saying. It's also interesting thinking about the kingdom of the Mitanni. We spoke about the kingdom of the Mitanni, that they invoked Vedic deities, and there are biblical scholars that connect the Mitanni with the descendants of Abraham by his wife Keturah. So it's just very interesting that we may have to consider that there could be Aryans coming from Shem as well. I wouldn't say that this is conclusive, but it's just I wanted to share this with you, that we do have a son of Japheth that's being connected with the Aryans. And what about the descendants of Abraham by Keturah? That could also be interesting to speak more about.